Have you ever found yourself lost in a moment with someone, wondering if the silent signals between you might be saying more than words ever could? Picture this. You're sitting in a cozy cafe on a lazy afternoon, and as you sip your coffee, you catch her gaze lingering a little too long. There's a spark in her eyes, a quiet invitation that speaks volumes without a single word. Today, we're diving deep into those subtle cues that hint she might be ready for you, all while embracing the calm, clear wisdom of Stoicism. Before we begin, I'd appreciate it if you liked this video, as it helps me continue spreading Stoic philosophy in everyday life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and activate the bell so you don't miss any future insights on how ancient wisdom can guide modern connections. Now, settle in, relax, and let's talk about those silent signals that can sometimes say more than the loudest declarations. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in endless chatter, constant scrolling, and the pressure to articulate every thought perfectly. Yet, often the most genuine communication happens in those quiet moments, the unspoken language that exists in a glance, a touch, or the way someone positions themselves when they're near you. Today, we're going to uncover 7 distinct body language clues that reveal when a woman might be showing interest. We're going to break these down in a way that feels like chatting with an old friend, simple, straightforward, and full of practical examples you can relate to in real life. Let's start with that first powerful cue, the magic of prolonged eye contact. Imagine this, you're at a social gathering, and across the room, you notice her eyes locking onto yours. For a moment, time seems to slow down as the two of you share a gaze that feels both warm and inviting. That lingering look isn't a mistake or a coincidence. It's her way of showing that she's interested without having to say anything at all. There's something almost magnetic about the way our eyes connect, and understanding this silent language can really help you gauge her interest. As we explore each clue today, I invite you to think back to your own experiences. Which of these signs have you noticed before? Let me know in the comments below, as your thoughts and stories make this conversation even richer. We're not here to analyze every little detail with stress or overthinking. Instead, we're embracing a balanced approach, one that a Stoic high-value man would appreciate, calm, observant, and confident. Now, let's ease into our first clue with a bit of calm reflection. Picture yourself at a friend's gathering, and you catch her eye. There's a moment when she doesn't break the connection immediately. Her gaze lingers, and then you notice a subtle movement. Perhaps her eyes slowly shift from yours to her lips, tracing what some refer to as the eye triangle. This quiet, unspoken gesture is a delicate dance, one that hints at her desire to connect on a deeper level. It's a natural, almost hypnotic signal that can speak louder than any words could. In the world of Stoicism, a high-value man remains composed and doesn't react hastily to these signals. He understands that true strength lies in his calmness, in his ability to appreciate the beauty of these small moments without letting his emotions spiral out of control. This same calm can help you notice when her eyes betray what she might not be ready to voice. It's about staying present, letting your mind absorb the scene without over-analyzing every detail, yet being open to the clear messages her body language might be offering. Let's move into the next clue, the subtle art of using close proximity and what might seem like accidental touches. Imagine you're sitting at a quaint table in a quiet corner of a bookstore, lost in conversation. You might notice that she instinctively leans in just a bit closer than necessary, brushing against your arm or hand. At first, it might seem like a mere coincidence, a fleeting contact here or there. But when these moments repeat, they start to form a pattern. It's her quiet way of saying she's comfortable around you, that she's open to the connection. It's fascinating how these tiny actions can speak volumes. A gentle brush of the arm, or the way she positions herself to be within your personal space, isn't just about physical closeness. It's about trust and attraction. And just like with eye contact, it's important not to rush the response. A man of stoic demeanor doesn't flinch at these moments. Instead, he appreciates them, letting the natural rhythm of the interaction unfold. When you notice her moving closer, even when it isn't strictly necessary, that's your cue to be observant, to mirror that calm and steady confidence that Stoicism teaches us. Now, as we talk about these delicate cues, consider the next signal that might have slipped by unnoticed, the subtle dance of playing with hair and the exposure of her neck. Picture her twirling a strand of hair around her finger or casually brushing it back as she talks to you. There's a quiet vulnerability in this act, a moment of self-grooming that isn't performed out of habit, but as a subconscious sign of attraction. And when her neck becomes visible, perhaps as she tilts her head slightly, it's as if she's inviting you to notice the delicate beauty there. It's a silent expression of trust, a vulnerability that says, "I'm comfortable here with you." This behavior is not just about looking good, it's a natural, unconscious expression of interest. When you catch her adjusting her hair or revealing a little more of her neck, you're witnessing a signal that has deep roots in our natural desire to connect. Remember, a stoic man remains unhurried, acknowledging these signs with a measured appreciation rather than an overzealous reaction. When you let the moment build naturally, you honor both the tradition of respectful connection and the quiet wisdom that our ancestors embraced. Moving forward in our conversation, another powerful clue lies in the way she mirrors your movements and speech. Have you ever noticed how, when someone is truly engaged, their actions tend to echo yours? It might be as simple as a shift in posture or a similar hand gesture. This mirroring isn't a planned performance. It happens naturally, a subconscious nod to your presence and influence. When you change your position, and within moments, she subtly adjusts her stance, it's her way of aligning with you. This behavior speaks of a deep psychological connection, a mutual synchronization that quietly signals attraction. This natural mimicry is more than just imitation. It's a sign that she's tuned into your energy and is mirroring it in her own quiet way. For a high-value man grounded in Stoic principles, noticing these details without overanalyzing them is key. Instead of letting the moment fluster you, you simply acknowledge the connection, using it as a gentle reinforcement of her interest in you. As we continue our exploration, let's turn to a clue that might seem a bit paradoxical at first: the presence of nervous yet playful behavior. It's common to see someone fidgeting with a ring or playing with a loose strand of hair when they're excited. These actions can be mistaken for anxiety, yet in the context of attraction, they're a charming sign of nervous energy. When her hand trembles slightly as she reaches out to share something, or she giggles at a quiet joke that only the two of you share, these are signs that she's feeling something genuine and thrilling, even if it's wrapped up in a bit of playful nervousness. It's important here to differentiate between discomfort and the kind of excitement that comes with attraction. A few quick glances, subtle blushing, and those little fidgets aren't signs that she wants to run away. They're signs that she's interested, but also a bit unsure of how to express it. And rather than reacting impulsively, a composed man lets the interaction unfold naturally, offering reassurance with his calm presence. It's a dance where each small movement builds up the anticipation of what might come next. Finally, let's talk about that last, subtle yet powerful signal, the way she behaves when it's time to say goodbye. Often, the conclusion of an encounter carries as much meaning as the beginning. When she lingers at the door or hesitates to part ways, it can be a clear sign that she's not quite ready for the connection to end. Perhaps she continues the conversation a little longer, or she finds excuses to keep your attention just a moment more. These moments, though brief, are significant. They're a final, unspoken invitation that says she values the time spent together and hopes for more. As you become more aware of these quiet signals, You'll notice that the way she positions herself, even in those final moments, is intentional. It's her way of keeping the conversation and the connection alive. And when you notice these moments, take them as a cue to respond with the calm, collected demeanor that Stoicism teaches. Rather than making a hasty move, let the natural flow guide you, trusting that the genuine connection you're building is rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Throughout our conversation today, we've explored how silent cues, from the intensity of prolonged eye contact to the subtle art of delayed goodbyes, can reveal a lot about a woman's true feelings. These signs aren't random or accidental, they're carefully woven into the fabric of our everyday interactions. And the beauty of it all is that they're accessible to anyone willing to observe with an open heart and a calm mind. I invite you now to reflect on these moments the next time you find yourself in a social setting. Remember, there's no need to rush or overthink things. Instead, be present. Allow the subtle language of body signals to guide you, and trust that in their quiet way, they're telling you something real. Which of these signs have you noticed before? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation together. As we wrap up our discussion, keep in mind that understanding body language is not about decoding every little movement perfectly. It's about cultivating a deeper connection with the people around you. With each shared glance, each accidental touch, and every lingering farewell, there's a story unfolding, one that only those with a calm and observant mind can fully appreciate. Stay curious, stay composed, and let your natural confidence shine through. Before we move on, let's revisit that first powerful cue once more. Recall the moment when her eyes locked with yours, a gentle invitation that hinted at something more. That moment was just the beginning of a quiet conversation between your souls, one that didn't need loud words or grand gestures to make its mark. In these small, silent exchanges, there lies an opportunity for genuine connection, built on mutual respect and an appreciation for the subtle art of communication. Now, with this warm conversation in our hearts, let's take a closer look at the first of our 7 body language clues: how prolonged eye contact and the mysterious eye triangle can speak louder than words. Imagine once again that cozy scene in the cafe, where every glance carries a quiet promise and every pause holds the potential for something more profound. Stay with me as we explore these signals in detail, one thoughtful moment at a time. Now, imagine sitting across from her in a softly lit room where the hustle of the day melts away into the quiet intimacy of the moment. You catch her eye, a deep, unwavering gaze that feels as if time itself has paused. It isn't just any look, but one that seems to speak 1,000 unspoken words. That steady, prolonged eye contact is perhaps the strongest silent signal of attraction there is. It's as if, in that moment, both of you are acknowledging something real and unspoken, a spark that ignites when words are unnecessary. There's an unspoken art to maintaining this eye contact. Notice how, when she looks at you, her eyes don't dart away quickly. Instead, they hold on just a little longer than what might be expected in casual conversation. That lingering gaze is deliberate, a quiet invitation to connect more deeply. And if you're paying attention, you might notice something even more intriguing. Sometimes her eyes perform a subtle dance. They shift from yours to another place, perhaps to her lips, before returning. This fluid movement forms what is often called the eye triangle. It's a natural, almost hypnotic pattern that suggests she's mentally inviting you to notice more about her. When her eyes travel from your gaze to her lips, it hints at a desire that goes beyond just friendly conversation. Picture this scenario vividly. You're sharing a quiet table in a bustling cafe, and in the midst of casual chatter, her eyes lock onto yours. There's a pause, a brief moment when she holds your look a little longer. You might even see her eyes trace an invisible path from your eyes to your lips before she looks away ever so slowly. That pause is not accidental. It's her way of testing the waters, of checking if you're as interested as she is. If you maintain your calm and steady gaze without flinching, you send a powerful signal of confidence. Remember, a man guided by Stoic principles doesn't let nervous energy betray him. He stays calm and composed, letting the natural rhythm of the interaction flow. The beauty of this silent exchange is that it's both subtle and profound. It invites you to be present in the moment, to really see her without distractions, to appreciate the nuances in the way she communicates silently. This is where true connection begins, when both people feel understood, even without a single word being spoken. And in that quiet space, a simple test can reveal so much. Next time you find yourself in such a moment, try holding eye contact just a little longer than usual. Notice if she reciprocates by keeping her gaze locked on yours, or if she shyly looks away. That extra second of connection might just be the confirmation you need to know that her interest is genuine. It's also important to remember that the power of eye contact isn't about staring or creating discomfort. It's about building a bridge of understanding between two people. The gentle, prolonged exchange of glances creates a space where vulnerability and attraction can meet. And when you observe this with the calm assurance of Stoic wisdom, you're not overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. Instead, you appreciate the quiet strength in her silent invitation. Imagine another scenario. You're at a social event, and amidst the laughter and casual banter, you catch her looking at you from across the room. There's a soft intensity in her eyes, a deliberate pause that signals she's interested in more than just polite conversation. You respond with a gentle smile, and for a moment, the world around you fades away into the background. In that brief yet powerful exchange, the eye triangle is at work, her eyes moving subtly from yours to her lips and back again, inviting you to read the silent script of her attraction. As you become more familiar with these cues, you'll notice that this kind of eye contact is not just a fleeting moment, it's a repeated invitation. A woman who is truly interested will often use this method to create anticipation, to let you know that there's something more beneath the surface. And if you learn to recognize these moments, you'll be better prepared to respond in a way that is both respectful and confident. In embracing these quiet signals, you align yourself with the timeless teachings of Stoicism to remain calm, observant, and present. There's a deep strength in acknowledging these moments without letting them control you. When you're aware of the silent language of eye contact and the gentle invitation of the eye triangle, you're better equipped to navigate the subtle dance of attraction with confidence and grace. So, as you continue to observe and engage in these silent conversations, take a moment to appreciate the beauty of a lingering gaze and the quiet power it holds. It's a reminder that sometimes the most profound connections are formed not through words, but through a shared moment of understanding, a moment where two souls meet in the silence between heartbeats. And that, in its own gentle way, is a truly Stoic expression of connection. Imagine that same spark of connection shifting as the physical distance between you starts to close. Picture how, in another scenario, she naturally finds ways to be near you, perhaps through what might seem like an accidental touch. As we move forward, allow your mind to follow this natural progression of silent signals, each one revealing another layer of attraction. Imagine you're standing in a bustling bookstore, the air filled with the quiet rustle of pages turning. Amid this serene setting, you notice her subtly inching closer to you. It might begin with a small, seemingly accidental brush of her hand against yours, or a gentle touch on your arm as if to emphasize a point. These gestures, while they may appear to be mere coincidences, are actually deliberate signals, a way for her to reduce the distance between you both without uttering a single word. There is a certain charm in these fleeting touches that speaks of a deeper interest. When she finds opportunities to be physically near, even if it's under the guise of a casual gesture, it's her quiet way of saying that she values the connection. You might observe that whenever the conversation flows, she subconsciously adjusts her position to draw closer, or her hand finds a natural route to meet yours. These subtle movements, though not grand, accumulate over time to form a clear picture of her interest. Think about it. If someone consistently finds reasons to be near you, that's not mere coincidence. It's an unconscious dance of attraction, where every accidental touch is carefully orchestrated by her inner desire to connect. It might be as simple as her sitting a little closer than necessary, or maybe even leaning in during conversation. The key here is in the repetition. If you notice these touches occurring more than once, it's a pattern that indicates she feels a sense of comfort and attraction in your presence. It's essential to observe these moments without overanalyzing them. A touch here or there isn't a signal for immediate action. Rather, it's an invitation to enjoy the gradual unfolding of the interaction. In the spirit of Stoic calm, a high-value man remains composed and doesn't rush the moment. Instead, he allows these subtle gestures to build naturally into a rhythm of mutual understanding. When you sense that these touches are intentional, consider them as little windows into her world, a glimpse into the silent ways she communicates her interest. Imagine you're out with a friend at a relaxed gathering, and during a light conversation, she finds herself brushing against your hand more than once. Perhaps she lightly taps your shoulder while laughing, or she positions herself so that her body is naturally turned towards you. These moments might seem minor, but together they paint a picture of genuine interest. They are her way of reducing any invisible barriers between you, inviting you to share in the closeness without any overt declarations. There is a delicate balance in these physical cues. Too much eagerness might overwhelm the moment, but the gentle, repeated contacts tell a story of attraction that is both sincere and unhurried. It's like a slow dance, where every step is measured and meaningful. As you notice these signs, allow your calm presence to reinforce the connection. Don't rush to respond. Instead, mirror her subtle moves with quiet confidence. Perhaps you shift your position slightly, and if she mirrors your movement, that's a silent confirmation that she is indeed following your lead. In these moments, remember that attraction is often about the space between words, a space filled with soft touches, subtle adjustments, and quiet invitations. When you find yourself on the receiving end of these delicate gestures, take a deep breath and appreciate the slow build-up of connection. Each accidental touch is a conversation in itself, speaking of interest and the desire for closeness. These moments of proximity and gentle contact are a testament to the beauty of non-verbal communication. They remind us that true connection doesn't always need to be loud or overt. Instead, it's built on a series of small, intentional gestures that, when noticed, reveal a deeper layer of attraction. As you cultivate your awareness of these signals, you empower yourself to respond with the measured grace that Stoicism teaches. You become a man who doesn't jump to conclusions, but rather one who lets each moment speak for itself, allowing the natural chemistry between you and her to blossom organically. As you continue to observe these quiet moments, let them guide you in building a connection that is as natural as it is profound. Every subtle touch and every intentional movement brings you closer to understanding the silent language of attraction. And just like the gentle art of prolonged eye contact, these accidental touches are a reminder that sometimes the most powerful expressions come without a single word being spoken. Now, let's let this natural progression lead us to another fascinating signal: the way she uses simple, everyday gestures like playing with her hair and revealing just a bit of her neck. Picture a scene where, amid a relaxed conversation, you catch her absent-mindedly twirling a strand of hair around her finger. It's a small gesture, but one filled with unspoken meaning, a signal that she's both comfortable and intrigued by your presence. As we transition into this next quiet chapter of our conversation, keep in mind that every subtle cue is another piece of the silent puzzle of attraction. In another gentle moment, you might find yourself noticing how she plays with her hair. There's something almost hypnotic about the way she absent-mindedly twirls a strand around her finger or flips it over her shoulder during a conversation. It's not just a habit, it's a subtle cue, a non-verbal sign that she's engaged and perhaps even a bit self-conscious about how she appears in your presence. There is a natural charm in these gestures that speaks of vulnerability and attraction. When she casually runs her hand through her hair or adjusts it while talking, it's as if she's giving you a little glimpse of her inner world, a world where she feels comfortable and safe. Even more telling is when her head tilts ever so slightly, revealing a delicate curve of her neck. The neck is one of the most intimate parts of the body, often hidden behind layers of formality and caution. When she exposes it, even just a fraction, it's a quiet sign of trust, a gentle invitation to appreciate her natural beauty without the need for words. This simple act, combined with a slight touch to her collarbone, forms a double signal of attraction. It tells you that she's relaxed in your company and that her subconscious is letting her guard down. Picture this scene. You're engaged in conversation, the air filled with the soft hum of background chatter, and you notice her glancing at you while her hand gently brushes a stray lock of hair behind her ear. There's a momentary sparkle in her eyes, a fleeting expression that hints at something more. This isn't just a random movement, it's a carefully timed gesture that communicates comfort, interest, and a quiet readiness for something deeper. As you watch, you realize that her playful hair movements and subtle neck exposures are not performed for show. They're natural, unconscious signals that she feels a genuine connection with you. It's important to approach these cues with the calm assurance of Stoic wisdom. A high-value man doesn't get flustered by these delicate signs, but rather observes them with a quiet sense of understanding. He recognizes that every little gesture, every playful movement of her hair, or the subtle reveal of her neck is part of a silent language, a language that speaks of attraction and openness. Instead of overthinking or misinterpreting these moments, he lets them build the connection gradually, allowing the natural chemistry to unfold in its own time. When you see her engaging in these gentle actions, take a moment to simply appreciate the vulnerability behind them. Notice how she unconsciously reveals just enough of herself, both physically and emotionally, to invite you in. There is a kind of poetry in these quiet gestures, a delicate balance between self-expression and the desire for connection. And as you become more attuned to these signals, you learn to respond with the same measured calm, letting the conversation flow naturally without forcing anything. Think back to a time when you might have witnessed such a moment, a casual interaction where her hair danced around her fingers and a small smile played on her lips as she tilted her head, exposing the soft curve of her neck. In that instant, there was a shared understanding that transcended spoken words. It was a mutual acknowledgement of attraction, a silent recognition that both of you were part of something subtle and yet significant. This is the beauty of non-verbal communication. It allows us to connect on a level that's both deep and incredibly personal. As you continue to reflect on these quiet signals, remember that they're part of a larger conversation, a conversation that includes everything from prolonged eye contact to accidental touches. Each gesture, no matter how small, contributes to the narrative of attraction. And in embracing these signals, you allow yourself to be fully present, appreciating the silent language that flows between you and her. Let these observations guide you as you move forward, not with haste or anxiety, but with a quiet confidence. When you understand that every playful hair flick and every subtle neck exposure is a piece of a larger puzzle, you'll find that connection grows organically. There's no need for rushed decisions or frantic moves. Instead, you become a patient, observant partner in this beautiful dance of attraction. Let's now shift our focus to another subtle yet telling behavior, how she mirrors your movements and speech. In the next part of our journey together, we'll explore how these quiet imitations can be a profound sign of her interest, creating a harmonious dialogue without a single word exchanged. Now consider this. As you engage in conversation, you might begin to notice that her body and words start to reflect yours in a delicate, almost subconscious way. It could be the way she adjusts her posture when you shift, or the way her hand gestures seem to echo your own. This mirroring is not a deliberate act. It's an innate, silent signal of connection. When someone is drawn to you, their body often responds in kind, aligning with your energy without a second thought. Imagine a relaxed setting, perhaps a quiet dinner or an intimate gathering, where conversation flows freely. As you speak, you might observe that she unconsciously mirrors your movements. A tilt of your head followed by a similar tilt on her part, or a slight hand movement that she echoes with her own gestures. This isn't a mere coincidence. It's a subtle confirmation that she's engaged, that her body is naturally attuned to yours. There's a natural rhythm in these mirrored actions, a kind of silent conversation that speaks of mutual understanding. When you adjust your position, notice if she does the same within moments. It's like watching a carefully choreographed dance, where every move is a quiet affirmation of the connection that exists between you. This mirroring can even extend to her speech. If you find that she starts to adopt similar phrases, or her tone softens to match yours, that's another layer of this unspoken dialogue. It's as if, without even realizing it, she is aligning herself with your energy, confirming that she values the interaction in a deep and personal way. Take a moment to think about how this behavior can influence the flow of your conversation. A man who is calm and observant will notice these cues and use them as a gentle guide. Instead of feeling pressured to fill every silence with words, he allows the natural rhythm of the interaction to build. He understands that this mirroring is a sign of trust and rapport, a subtle nod that she's not only listening to you, but also aligning her inner world with yours. There's an inherent beauty in these mirrored gestures. They speak to the heart of human connection, where words are only one part of the conversation. When you see her unconsciously mimic your posture or echo your gestures, it's a sign that she's engaged on a deeper level, that she's absorbing your energy and reflecting it back in a quiet, supportive way. This silent imitation reinforces the idea that the connection you share is balanced and genuine, built on a mutual respect that doesn't require overt declarations. It's also important to approach these observations with a calm mind. A high-value man, rooted in Stoic wisdom, does not let these signs fluster him. Instead, he uses them to build a bridge of understanding, letting the quiet harmony of mirrored actions encourage a natural progression of the conversation. There's no need to overanalyze or force a reaction. Instead, allow the moment to unfold at its own pace, trusting that every subtle gesture is part of a larger tapestry of attraction. Reflect for a moment on a time when you might have experienced this kind of mirroring. Perhaps during a quiet conversation, you noticed that her gestures began to match yours, or that her tone subtly shifted to mirror the cadence of your speech. In that fleeting moment, there was a silent understanding, a shared rhythm that spoke of mutual appreciation and genuine connection. These moments, however small they may seem, are a testament to the power of non-verbal communication. They remind us that the essence of human connection is often found in the spaces between words, in the quiet moments where actions speak louder than any declaration. As you continue to engage in these interactions, Take comfort in the knowledge that every mirrored movement is a small confirmation of her interest. Let your awareness of these cues deepen your appreciation for the art of silent communication, reinforcing the calm and measured approach that Stoicism encourages. When you see her mirror your movements, let it serve as a gentle reminder that connection doesn't always require loud proclamations. It often flourishes in the quiet, reflective moments shared between two people. And now, as we move seamlessly from this exploration of mirroring into another intriguing behavior, let's talk about the nervous yet playful signs of attraction that can often reveal even more about her inner state. Imagine being in a relaxed setting where the conversation flows effortlessly and suddenly you notice a shift in her energy. There's a slight fidget, a playful adjustment of her clothing, or even a brief, unexpected giggle that lights up her eyes. These small, nervous gestures might seem contradictory at first. They hint at anxiety, yet they carry a spark of excitement that is unmistakably inviting. When someone feels drawn to you, it's natural for their body to exhibit a kind of playful nervousness. It's not about discomfort, it's about the thrill of a connection that feels new and exciting. Think about a moment when she might pick up a nearby object, perhaps a pen or even the edge of her sleeve, and absent-mindedly fiddle with it as she speaks. This fidgeting is not a sign of disinterest, but rather a subtle expression of excitement. You might also notice that her laugh comes a little quicker or that she blushes when you catch her eye. These reactions are tiny windows into her inner world, where the energy of attraction creates a blend of nervous anticipation and joyful playfulness. There is a fine line between nervous energy and discomfort, and part of understanding her signals is learning to read this difference. A playful fidget, a quick smile, or a light touch to her face as she laughs are all indications that she's excited by the interaction. They show that she's feeling something real, even if it's wrapped up in a bit of shy energy. Instead of rushing to calm her nerves or misinterpreting these cues, a composed man welcomes them as part of the natural flow of attraction. He remains steady, allowing the playful energy to build without overwhelming the moment. Picture a scenario where you're enjoying a quiet dinner together, and as the conversation shifts to a light-hearted topic, you notice her fingers tapping lightly on the table. At first, it might seem like a simple gesture, but as the conversation deepens, you see that her touches become more frequent, a subtle indication that she's feeling a delightful mix of nerves and excitement. In those moments, it's important to maintain your calm. Instead of responding with overt gestures or rushing into the conversation, let the natural rhythm guide you. Your quiet confidence can help her feel at ease, allowing the nervous energy to transform into a shared sense of anticipation. A calm response can work wonders in these situations. When you observe her playful fidgeting or hear the soft sound of her laughter, let your own composure be the anchor that steadies the interaction. There's a gentle beauty in these nervous yet playful signals, a beauty that comes from the raw, unfiltered expression of attraction. It's as if, in that moment, she's allowing herself to be vulnerable, to let her guard down just enough to share a glimpse of her true feelings. Reflect on these moments as part of a larger conversation, one that doesn't require words to be meaningful. Every fidget, every blush, and every gentle laugh contributes to the silent dialogue between you. They are the small pieces of a larger mosaic of attraction, each piece adding depth and nuance to the connection you share. And in these moments, a man who remains calm and observant finds that the nervous energy only adds to the charm of the encounter. As you become more attuned to these signs, let them encourage you to build a connection that respects both your calm presence and her natural, playful energy. Allow each small gesture to guide you gently without forcing a reaction. Trust that these signs, when viewed through the lens of quiet confidence, are not meant to be rushed or overinterpreted. Instead, They serve as subtle confirmations that the connection between you is genuine and filled with potential. With each shared glance and every light-hearted moment, you are reminded that attraction often speaks in whispers, a gentle interplay of nervous excitement and calm understanding. And with that in mind, let's ease into another important aspect of non-verbal connection: the way open body language and the art of invitational sitting can signal her growing comfort and interest. Imagine a scene where you find yourself seated across from her in a quiet lounge. Instead of crossing her arms or turning away, she adopts an open posture, her legs uncrossed, her torso oriented towards you, and her hands resting casually in your space. This openness is more than just a relaxed stance. It's a silent invitation, a signal that she feels comfortable and receptive to your presence. When she positions herself so that her body naturally faces you, it speaks volumes about her interest, even if no words are exchanged. It's in these subtle moments that the language of attraction is most genuine. A woman who is truly interested will naturally lean into the conversation, both physically and emotionally. She might choose a seating position that not only allows her to engage with you easily, but also invites a sense of closeness. Think of a time when you notice someone's body language shifting subtly: an uncrossed posture, an open stance, the way her hands rest near you. These are gentle signs that she is not holding back, that she's ready to embrace the connection you share. Observing these cues requires a calm, composed mind. Instead of overthinking every detail, allow the natural flow of the interaction to guide you. When you see that her body language is open and inviting, it's a clear indicator that she's comfortable in your presence and that her attraction is growing steadily. In these moments, every subtle shift, like the way she relaxes into her seat or the ease with which she engages with you, reinforces the idea that genuine connection doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It's all about the quiet, consistent signals that build up over time. Imagine that you're sitting in a sunlit corner of a quiet park, engaged in a deep conversation. As you speak, you notice that she naturally faces you, her posture relaxed and her body open. There's a comfortable warmth in her demeanor, a gentle assurance that she feels safe and appreciated. Even the positioning of her hands, resting near yours or gently gesturing as she speaks, adds to the sense of intimacy. This is not a forced or rehearsed act. It's a genuine display of openness that signals her willingness to connect on a deeper level. Such moments, though subtle, are key to understanding the silent language of attraction. When you see her relaxed, open body language, it's an invitation to engage more fully, to let the conversation flow naturally without the need for overt gestures. And when you respond with your own calm and collected demeanor, you create a space where the connection can deepen organically. The beauty of this silent dialogue is that it requires no grand declarations, only a quiet presence and an attentive heart. As you continue to share these moments, you might even notice that her openness extends to the final moments of your encounter. When it comes time to say goodbye, rather than a hasty exit, she lingers, perhaps adjusting her seat one last time or finding a reason to stay a few moments longer. These delayed goodbyes are a final, unspoken confirmation that she values the time spent together, that the connection is far from over. It's in these final moments that the subtle art of invitational sitting and open body language truly shines, reinforcing the idea that true attraction is built slowly, with care and mutual respect. Each time you notice her open posture and the ease with which she settles into your shared space, let it remind you of the strength found in genuine connection. There's no need for rushed movements or hurried exits. Instead, allow the natural progression of the interaction to unfold in its own time. The quiet signals, her open body language, the way she positions herself, the lingering moments at goodbye, all serve as gentle invitations to continue exploring this connection further. As we wrap up our conversation today, take a moment to reflect on the many ways these silent cues come together to create a tapestry of attraction. From prolonged eye contact to open body language, each gesture is a note in the symphony of connection, a quiet melody that, when listened to with an open heart and a calm mind, can reveal volumes about what lies beneath the surface. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration into the subtle art of body language. If you found these insights helpful, please remember to like the video and share your own experiences in the comments below. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so and hit that notification bell so we can continue sharing the timeless wisdom of Stoicism in everyday life. Until next time, stay calm, stay observant, and let your actions speak as softly and powerfully as your heart.